Every now and then, the market gives me an ultimatum where two setups are damn near indistinguishable from each other. Like, I can't tell one from the other. And the worst part about it is like both of them are pointing in different directions, right? Or maybe you're experiencing conflicting confluences or signal. One telling you that the price is going to go up, the other one telling you that the price is going to go down. Or better yet, maybe your criteria is almost met or it is met, but just not in the way that you like it to be met. Like, something about it seems a little off. I don't know, this seems a little shaky, right? Like, you just can't put your thumb on it, but you know something is off. So now I'm stuck with this ultimatum where things are getting a little bit more risky. My edge isn't as strong as it normally is. My confidence begins to dwindle as my anxiety begins to take over. So now I'm hesitant, I'm insecure. The fear of losing has now entered my mind, which is damn near impossible to get it out by the time this session is over. Damn near feels like I'm fucked before I even put on the trade. So what do you do when you're in this ultimatum, when you have to decide, and it's probably a 50-50 chance between this actually being your setup and you following your rules? Or do you go with the conflicting signals telling you that the market is going to go in the other direction? Previous trades that you've taken have been screwed due to this same signal, and now you want to do things differently and you want to give it a try. So one day I was watching this show called Billions, right? You should check it out. If you're into trading, I'm pretty sure you would like it. But I was watching Billions. There's this character. Her name is Wendy, and she's a trading psychologist. So her best friend, which is her employer, is going to war with her husband, right? And so she goes to this older guy, and she pretty much asks him, I can't choose either side. So what do I do? So it went something like this. There was a boy in a Catholic school, and there was a nun with a stick ready to punish the boy. So the nun told him, if you say one more word, I'm going to pop you with this stick. If you don't say another word, I'm going to pop you with this stick. So what does the boy do? He takes the stick and he fucking breaks it. I believe the awareness of knowing that you're in an ultimatum is a skill alone. Like, awareness is a skill. And that skill can be used to see right through the illusion. The illusion of feeling like you have to make a choice. And I want you to understand that if the market conditions leading up to your trading signal is not favorable, and you don't like them, nobody is holding a gun to your head making you take the trade. You do not have to make a decision right here, right now. You don't have a dog in this fight just yet, so whatever happens next doesn't affect you. And if you're worried about missing an opportunity in an environment where there's endless opportunities, so the thing with our minds is that we have these things called mental blind spots. Our minds are able to fabricate a few things in this situation. One is unnecessarily adding weight to one opportunity in a land full of opportunities. The second thing is adding so much pressure on yourself to make a decision that you don't have to make. And because our mind fabricates these scenarios, these made up scenarios, it makes you think that you actually have to take a trade. And in this situation, you're not even trading. At this point, you're gambling, because there has been setups that you've taken where you were confident in it. Win or loss, you knew that was the best thing that you could do at the moment. And that very same feeling that you had on those setups that looked so good that you took without hesitation or reservation, if you're not feeling like that on the next setup, then that isn't a setup that you need to take. And that's the mental edge. That's using your emotions as an edge in the market and as a signal to take the trade. And the awareness alone that you're in an ultimatum, that the market has presented an ultimatum to you, where you have to decide between conflicting signals, lets you know that this is a low quality trade. Now, there are three ways you can respond to this situation. The first one is take the trade. The second one is wait for extra confirmation. And the third one is to not take the trade at all. All right, so let's say that you take the trade. Congratulations, you're gambling. All right, so that's first and foremost. This clearly isn't a high probability setup. It's giving you doubt. And you know what it feels like when you see a high quality setup. And this is not one of those feelings. You can't quite put your thumb on it, but something seems off. It's like your entry is looking dead at you, but you just feel like this is an ambush. It's almost like fake designer, you know what I'm saying? Like, it could pass for the real thing, but do you really want to chance it? Do you want to go out in public and really chance that? Me personally, I wouldn't put that shit on. So what are a few signs of gambling? First thing is over leveraging, where you put enough money on a trade where you're either afraid to lose or you're elated if you win. So the thing is, your trading capital has to meet your mental capital where it's at. No matter how much money you put in your bank account or your trading account, you could put $1 million in your trading account, but if you mentally can't handle a $50 loss, that $1 million will come all the way down to $50. Your trading account is only going to mirror how much you can handle mentally. That's why it's very important to sharpen your mental edge and learn about trading psychology. And if you want to find out where your mental capital is, Put a trade on and put enough money on it where you wouldn't care if you won or lost. It's that insignificant. That's where your trading capital is. Another sign of gambling is if winning would make you feel special. Taking the trade because you feel like you're special, your presence is important, or the fact that you think that you know will actually change the outcome of the trade. Lastly, if you view this as an opportunity to see if you're lucky or if God's favor is on your side. Now, on the contrary, here are the actual signs of being special, having God's favor, and being lucky. If you actually have a system that has been proven to be profitable after 1,000 back-tested trades that you know you can execute, and you have the opportunity to do it every day at your fingertips, because at that point the sky's the limit. Now, the second option is waiting for more confirmation, and I've given this some thought, right? I have this theory, and let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section. I have this theory where whenever we're playing a game of probability such as trading, there is an uncertainty spectrum where 100% certainty is guaranteed, which is impossible, and then 0% certainty is outright guessing, right? Like a shot in the dark. And in the middle, 50% is where true uncertainty lies, where 50% is like a coin flip, right? Where you can get enough information to prove that you're right, but you can also get enough information to prove that you're wrong. And this one is also the hardest to accept out of the three, because whenever you have to pick a side, you have just enough reason to believe that that's the reason why it will work out in your favor, but not enough to be sure. And if you lose, you will feel like you almost made the right call, which makes losses hurt 10 times as much, right? Like if you were 0% uncertain and it was a shot in the dark, that's way easier to accept that loss because you didn't know. So that's my theory on the uncertainty spectrum. 100% certainty is guaranteed, doesn't exist. 0% certainty is a shot in the dark, straight up guessing. And then 50% is the only point where it's completely uncertain and it's very, very tricky. It can really fuck with your mind. And the last way to deal with the market's ultimatum, and the most recommended way, is do not trade. Like, just don't take the trade. Taking a trade should feel like the odds are obviously in my favor, and no matter if it's a win or a loss, I did the absolute best I could, making a loss easier to digest. It really shouldn't feel like I don't know if I should do this, or my setup is here but something seems a little off. If you're getting that vibe, that feeling, then I just wouldn't do it, because you know what it feels like when everything is on point, everything is on par, and this is the opportunity to take. And not taking a trade doesn't only preserve your capital, but it also preserves your mental capital. It preserves that mental edge, right? Every time we take a trade, the results of the trade and also how we executed that trade, it leaks over into the next trade by default. This is called recency bias. When you let previous results of previous experiences or results affect how you act in the next trade. And that's not necessarily good, because when it comes to trading, every individual trade has nothing to do with the previous or the trades to come. Everything is its own individual event. So having those influences from previous trades can really affect your performance for your next trade. So whenever you trade, you're not just trading this trade, you're trading the next few ones. Yeah, that shit gets deep. And then here's where it all starts to connect, because the more that you do not follow your rules and follow your system, the more you're depleting your mental capital. Therefore, eventually, because there's a lagging effect here, your trading capital, your brokerage account, is going to dwindle down along with the habits that you're creating mentally. So it's really never just this one bad trade. It's much deeper than that. So here's a couple things that I know about my system that may or may not apply to yours, but just to give you a few ideas, get the ball rolling, right? Get your mind going with how to approach these situations. And I got these details, and I'm always going to preach this. I got these details from back testing my trades extensively, practicing extensively, being very prepared through back testing the same setup on the same time frame, using the same stock, using the same futures contracts, whatever, at least 1,000 times. This is where this information comes from. First thing is, if my first setup is a loser and I decide to take another setup within that same session, the same setup, abiding by the same rules, my profit and loss ratio decreases by almost 15%. Yeah, 15%. Which leads me to the second fact about my system. My system is at its highest and most lucrative potential when I trade my setup one time per day, no matter the outcome. Regardless of a win or regardless of a loss, over a series of trades, I make the most money when I do less. And the last thing, my setup is based on momentum and high volatility. And the higher the volatility, the more momentum, the more my odds increase, and the more likely this trade will work in my favor. And I just want to leave you with this. One of the biggest illusions in trading is feeling like you have to take a trade. When the market gives you an ultimatum and it's a flip of a coin, there's conflicting signals, conflicting confluences. It can go either way. The best decision is to break that fucking stick. Do not take the trade. You don't have to. And before I go, if you can do me a favor, if you can like and comment this video or share it, subscribe to my channel, and not just for me. So if you can help me help contribute to our trading community, I will greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you tomorrow.